Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Chicopee, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and this is part of the High Street tour.
So today we'll be talking about Senior Block. So describe the Senior Block in Holyoke.
It is on the corner of, obviously the High Street, but on the corner of Appleton Street. And it is an American Renaissance building from the year 1898. It had a predecessor building there in that location. And it was 5 floors high, and they took it down to make this one. And this was only 6 floors high. They made this in the American Renaissance style, a tripartite style. That means when you look on it, there's 3 horizontal divisions that are extremely obvious. And here, they're at the 2nd and 3rd floor juncture, and then at the 5th and 6th floor juncture. American Renaissance was basically trying to say that America was the best country in the world, and they're trying to model their culture after ancient Greece, which was they thought the second best culture in the world. And this kind of architecture was very common around Holyoke and very common around the United States. Now we're going to talk about who would be occupants in this building and the history of the lot itself, and then how the site might be improved. But the building itself was constructed in order to take over a lot that was already there and make more space. It is bigger in volume than the predecessor. And along the way, they had a bank in it, and it still has a bank. There's a business school there. It was owned by Henry Sr., and it was designed by the architect George Alderman, who did many of the buildings around Holyoke. Also inside it, some occupants in the past were the Park National Bank, the City Realty Company. There were professionals like lawyers, doctors, and dentists, and also there was an architect there called Louis French who did a lot of the buildings around Holyoke. There were fraternal groups in here, including the Lions Club and the Bay State Club. And this building is still there, and we'll talk about what it might become.
And tell us about the Park National Bank.
All right, the Park National Bank was the first major occupant into this bank, and so it took up most of the early space in this building. It's a bank that opened in Holyoke in 1892, and when this building was ready in 1898, they moved in right in here. And by Holyoke standards, this is a large bank. In 1900 money, it had $250,000 of capital. All right, and when you're a bank and this is your headquarters, you take up more than just the ground floor. You take up several other floors above it, and that's because you got to process income checks, process outcome checks, and you have the accounting departments. Also, you have the mortgage department, so forth. There are many occupants during the years, and they stayed a very long time.
And quickly before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill out listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And he has both videos of the various stops along each tour, and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. They are perfect for fun, educational outdoor activities for the whole family, or for your group parties, especially with special occasions and get-togethers. They are also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, tell us of the history of this lot.
All right, so if you go through what it was before, it was in the 1880s, you're not going to believe it was empty. Early 1880s, it was empty. By the mid-1880s, it had a 5-floor building there called the Browning Hall. And that's tall. It wasn't the great vibe. It didn't come flush up to the sidewalk, but it was tall and big building, and it held professional offices and residential on the top. Now, like I told you, in 1898, only maybe 15 years or less, much less, maybe 12 years after it was built, the Brown Hall was taken down. It was such a key location that it probably was a slight benefit to keep it going. And and when Henry Sr. came around, poof, down it came, up went his block. Now, the building itself has always been a home for many years for the Park National Bank. They were there from the beginning of 1898 until well into the 1960s, maybe 1970s. And so thus, it's always been a very important bank there. Nowadays, there's the Key Bank, and that's important too. But they're trying to get more occupants because the Key Bank, this is their head location, and they want to be able to raise the amount of occupancy. But the Key Bank takes more than the ground floor; it takes another 2 floors above it. But there's 6 floors to this building, so you have 3 more floors to go. It should be occupied.
And how can a senior block be improved?
All right, you can improve it in one very obvious way, and that's by making it cleaner. If you look at some of the bricks on the facade, it's not very clean. And if they do that, they can really sharpen up the image of it, and they might raise the occupancy rate. It's it's also should be improved in terms of getting more people in there, and it's become a busy site in terms of Holyoke standards. And so maybe they should just try to get more businesses in there, more small businesses, and so forth.
Thank you for educating us on your tours, and we want to thank our listeners for tuning in. And again, you can tune into a large selection of other podcasts and much more on his website, holyokecanaltour.org. And just, you can also email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to check out his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in.